I've just returned from a week in China at the end of really what's been a remarkable year of performance by the Chinese economy. Growth is likely to come in around 5%. It's consistent with our forecasts, but still in a global context where the US average tariff rate on China is between 40 and 50%. Quite a remarkable performance, I think, worth giving some thought to that when we think about the Chinese economy of future years. The internal economy itself, patchy, the best word I can use to describe it. Consumer spending, solid, subdued maybe. Volumes holding up, but discounts are seeming to be quite common and seem to be required to keep that consumer demand ticking along. The housing sector still in a downtrend, no green shoots in evidence, and that's been a story now that's at least 2 years old. And tariffs are part of every conversation. I mean, tariff rates obviously part of the story, but also the unpredictability of tariffs coming to the fore more and more in the discussions that I had. What does seem to have shifted is the regulatory and policy environment internally. A lot of foreign businesses speaking about it as being much more consistent and more transparent. That's quite a shift. I haven't heard that sort of feedback for quite a number of years, and you would say maybe a bit of a comparison with the US at the moment. For economy watchers like me, the 15th five-year plan has been in focus. I think their tilts in policy is probably the best way to describe things. No wholesale shifts. A bit of an effort to, again, encourage consumption has been the story for quite some period of time, and also some efforts on dealing with involution or excessive competition, excessive capacity, if you like. But until the authorities are starting to signal that they're willing to consider more meaningful stimulatory macro policy, I just think the efforts on involution are likely to remain at the margin. Reducing capacity frees up resources. Consumption probably not strong enough to absorb those resources at this point. Offshore, one of the things I hear most often about China is this great export performance is not sustainable. Onshore, maybe some proof points about why I think it is sustainable. And maybe part of, I guess, the story is China, this economy of extremes, really. There's the cutting edge China that we see in global export markets. China, the largest exporter of EVs globally. China having export and global production critical mass in batteries, in solar panels, in shipbuilding and in other sectors. But then there's parts of the internal China's economy that are incredibly cost effective. One example is as part of the involution policy response, some minimum prices have been introduced. One of those is for parcel charges for goods bought on e-commerce sites. The minimum parcel charge is 1 renminbi, let's call that 20 US cents. Really quite remarkable. Maybe this is the secret sauce of the Chinese export sector that I think puzzles those looking from the outside in, the marrying of this cutting edge kind of first world dominance in some sectors, but coupled with a domestic economy which in some ways is still incredibly cost effective, certainly compared to China's major export markets. I think China's export story is very sustainable.